Jaguar decided to go on the Wiley show. And I think that was the last thing she should have done because he read her rights, okay? She decided to hit the link. You know how she liked to jump from channel to channel? Well, I guess this was one channel too many she jumped on because she jumped on the channel. She started to talk about things that she wanted to talk about because she was trying to steer the conversation when he was trying to ask some direct questions concerning the first thing was, why do you keep jumping from channel to channel when you got your own channel, your own YouTube channel? And this is the BS story that she gave them.
Do my own content, but I'm saving my content to put up on my network. And we're not ready to launch yet, but we're getting there. We're very close, and I can't wait for the reboot. It's going to be amazing.
Now, guys, tell me what kind of sense does that make? She jumped on his show. She is hoping that he would give her a couple of dollars. She's hustling now, trying to get some dollars. I guess the rent is coming due. Or she's running out of food. And she's going to give him this cock and bull story that she have her own content and she's saving it for Philadelphia. What sense does that make? By the time she put out the content, it's old because everybody been put it out. Let me tell you, she's full of stories. She's got some lofty ideas, but it doesn't come through. It does not come to fruition. Right now, people are waiting for the Philadelphia to be up and running. She don't even want to put content out on her own channel. I don't understand what's going on with Jaguar, right? She looks very disheveled. She's not acting, like if she's in her right frame of mind at all. So she says the couple's channel, this TNJ channel, is really TJ's channel. And then he said, well, you need your own channel. And then she says, I am on my own channel. But then she just told him that it's TJ's channel. It's not her channel. So she knows how to spin the narrative, but she gets caught up in her own lies. So she's not very good at spinning the narrative. She knows how to spin it, but she's not very good at it. I guess old age is creeping up because she says she's 46? 4 years shy of 50. Girl, 50 is knocking. You need to get it together. I'm sure you're going through hot flashes right now. I don't think Jaguar still have a period, okay? Because when you turn in your 40s, that's when the perimenopausal creeps in. So maybe that's what she's going through. Maybe she's going through some perimenopausal that she can't think straight. That's what I think. But Wiley started to go in on her. He said, you are acting like a hoe. You're jumping from platform to platform, and all these people are your pimps because they're getting the money and you ain't getting nothing. You're giving them content, which is you and your stories, but you ain't getting nothing in return. What you're getting is pittance under the table, pretty much, in my words, pittance under the table, but you ain't getting nothing. They're walking away with the bag. So they got you as the hoe. And she was like shocked. Her mouth was open. She didn't know what else to say. But that was the beginning of the read. He was ready for her. I don't know, maybe he had a premonition that she was going to come on, but he was ready.
When are you going to get from the host role and be your own boss, be your own pimp? Because you getting pimped out from everybody.
And what I have to say on that note is it's about time somebody tells her exactly what time of day it is, because everybody has been tippy-toeing around Jaguar, telling her what they wanted her to hear because they needed her for content. So they were kind of tippy-toeing around her, don't want to ruffle the feathers, telling her what she needed to hear. They weren't really asking the hard questions or telling her where she's wrong. So I must say I found this rather refreshing that this content creator didn't want her for content. He just wanted to let her know that she's selling herself short. She's acting like a old hoe, not even a young hoe, all right? Now, he didn't say old hoe. I'm saying old hoe, okay? Because the way Jaguar is acting, remember, she's 4 years shy of 50, jumping from platform to platform, having these people use her for content. It's like if she lost her pride and dignity, and you guys are going to hear later on in the video where she says she likes being used. Well, if you like being used, I guess they're going to use you all up. And when she said that, I said, well, I guess spoken like a hoe. She likes being used, and that's what you do with hoes. You use them up.
Wiley, that must make you a pimp because I'm over here hoeing with you.
Well, that was not a good analogy because she jumped on his platform. He did not invite her to come on. The other platforms would invite her and she would come on, and I guess they would throw her a couple of dollars and then she would spill all her little stories, whether it was real or not. But she jumped on his platform. He did not invite her, so that does not make him a pimp. I'm just using her analogy. She said, well, then he must be her pimp also because she is on his platform. But the only difference is, I was trying to say before, is that he did not invite her. She invited herself. She hit the link. The other platforms like Sean Davy, King Payne, and all these other Sherelle's World and, Storm Monroe and all these other platforms, they would invite her on. So now he's trying to tell her, start your own channel. You got the material that you need. You're the content creator. All you do is start your channel. You don't have to be scrounging for money. In my own words, scrounging for money, going from platform to platform. Start your channel and bring in your bread that way. And she says, well, take me out to lunch and we can discuss it. And I'm saying to myself, girl, you don't even have money for lunch. You don't have no food in the house. Is that what you're saying?
Let me know a price that you can afford for that meeting. Or you know what? Even better. Why don't you just take me and Beloved out to lunch?
Well, he shot that down right away, and I would have too, because let me tell you, with her and TJ out to lunch eating off of you, you know that bill is going to be in the hundreds because both of them like to eat well. And I guess they must have run out of coins to get the good steak and eggs that they like so much. So now they want Wiley to take them out to lunch. He shot it down right away. He said, I ain't got it. You ain't getting a coin off of me because I ain't got it. So Wiley then said to her, look, I am tired of people using you. I want you to win. Because remember, Jaguar have mental illness. Wiley understands because he also have mental illness. He's got schizophrenia, but he takes medication for it. So he said, I want you to win. I am tired of seeing people using you. Build your platform, get on your internet or your YouTube or Dolladalfia, but whatever it is, build it. And then he said he's tired of people like Sean Davy using her, and then he dropped her like if she was a bad habit. And she says, you want to know something funny? I dropped him first. I said, girl, you are so delusional. You need to go take your medication, like Wiley said.
But for me, you just have to apply it because I'm tired of you getting used. You got used, so Sean Davy, he dumped you like a bad habit. He did a funnel. He said, dust to dust, ash to ashes.
You want to know what's funny about him breaking up with me?
What was funny about that?
I had already broken up with him.
You already broken up with him?
Yes.
After he raised money to bail you out?
So Wiley said, you broke up with him after he raised money to bail you out? I think he was talking about official kingpin. But the point is, she didn't break up with none of these guys. They dumped her. As a matter of fact, with Sean Davy, the dumping was really epic because he had a funeral and all. Official kingpin had a repast. I mean, they had her in the grave, honey. They nailed the coffin. They nailed it shut. You can't get that coffin open up if you tried. And this just reminds me of some people who get dumped and they go around saying, oh no, he didn't dump me. I dumped him. And everybody's saying, well, how did you dump him, Ben? It's common knowledge that he dumped you first. And the woman will say, well, I was thinking about dumping him. So technically I dumped him first. So this is like kind of that scenario with Jaguar. She is probably thinking, oh, I had it in my mind where I was going to dump these guys. So technically, I did the dumping, which we know that's not true. Jaguar was not even thinking of dumping these guys. She was still calling them after they dumped her. She was still saying that Sean Davy was her bestest friend, even after he dumped her. She's beginning to act like Forrest Gump. Very slow.
I like the me. Listen to me, Wiley. I like the me that I am at 46 now. So much more. Yeah, I just turned 46 on May 17th.
Is that 46 years old?
Yeah, I was born in 1977.
So you're old enough than all of those young men that you went on their pub. You're older than them, correct?
Yeah, I could be like their aunties or their mothers.
And you could be their mother and auntie. So why are you getting gooped by people those could be your children? Why you keep getting gooped by them?
Well, I'm not getting.
And that's a good question, because every last one of these guys she's older than. She's almost 50 and those guys are much younger than her. Every last one of them. So she's playing herself for a sucker, for a fool. And you guys are going to hear it later on where she says she does not mind being used. Well, I guess they're going to use her up. That's all. There's an old saying, there's nothing worse than an old fool.
I'm a blessing, Wiley. Listen to me. I'm a blessing. I've always been that way, and I've always felt that way. If there's something that you can get from me, as long as you take advantage of it and make the most out of it, I'm never upset.
Well, if that's true, why is she so upset at Goomba? She says he used her. So why is he so upset? She says Kingpin used her. F.U.A used her. Why is she so upset? She just said, if there's something that she's got that you can use, she's never upset.
Do you know who I'm upset with? Niggas like my husband, who get handed all of these great opportunities and they're all off to smoke fentanyl weed and play PS4 all day. Like, see, that's the shit I don't like.
So she started to talk about Goomba briefly, and I said, thank God she did not talk about him for a whole hour, because we know how Jaguar gets when it comes to Goomba. She can go on and on and on. So in this clip, she's going to talk about how she don't mind being used.
Oh, like, that's who I am. I'm a muse. I'm a source. I expect to be used. So that's what I'm here for. But the thing is, if you're going to use me, mother, do it big. Get the most out of it, because there's one thing that's for sure and two things for certain. Jaguar don't stay in the same place very long. I move around. So then Wiley started to give her some advice to get back in the studio, because she is great. She is a queen in her own right. And he said, you haven't been putting out any music. Get back in the studio, put out music. And she said, well, I have been. And he said, you've been promising for years, but nothing has come to fruition. And so she started to argue with him that he is wrong about that. When it's common knowledge, Jaguar Wright haven't put out music, new music in the past, well, at least the past year that I know of. Going to the studio, doing a few recordings, and then shelving them is not putting out new music. She's not on Spotify for anything new. She's not on none of these music platforms. So she is just trying to, I guess she was trying to pull the wool over his eye, but he wasn't having it. He called her out on everything. This was definitely not an SDW or OKP interview. When they used to tell her what she wanted to hear, sugarcoat everything, and just rub her soles and her scalp and just massage her shoulders just to get that interview and for her to give them a call back to give them more content. So they used to play up to her and play into her and not really tell her what time of day it is, the real truth about herself. So as usual, Jaguar was trying to drag TJ in. She said, TJ, can you come on camera for a second? And TJ said she don't want to be on camera because TJ know what time of day it was, that Wiley was not going to be playing. And I'll tell you, he was shading the hell out of her because he said, I understand that TJ don't want to be on camera because she's not your wife or your husband. I said, whoops, there it is. Adrian, Deontay Lewis, and Michael Braggs were never my friends.
So when she said that, I just had to smile to myself. She is so delusional, and I guess she's trying to convince herself that she was not friends with them, so she's not heard that she got dumped by them. But let me tell you something. Jaguar is laying on that bed with her head back and talking all slow like if she hungry. I said, girl, you hungry? Is that why you asked this man to take you to lunch? If you wanted a few dollars, you can go ask. Let me see who she can ask. Wait a minute. I'm thinking now. Give me a few minutes. I'm sure there's somebody she can go ask. But you know what? Give me some time to think about it. And I'll come up with an answer. It might be tomorrow though. Anyway, let's get back to the video. So then she'd start to talk about when she was in jail. Official Kingpin used her. For the past 2 years, she's been watching them, and OKP as well as SDW have been using her. And I said, wait a minute now. Did you just say that you don't mind being used? I heard it with my own 2 ears, where Jaguar said she don't mind being used. And if you're going to use her, you got to make it big. So maybe I was hearing things because now she's complaining that they used her. I don't know, guys. She got me all the way confused. So Wiley held her feet to the fire when she said she was only 46. Because he said if she was a younger woman, then he can excuse her. But being that she's 46 years old, she should know better. She got all these young bucks, all these young guys making an ass of her. So Wiley said to her, why are you being gooped by all these young kids that can be your children? And this is what she said.
Getting gooped by anybody. I'm a blessing, Wiley. Listen to me. I'm a blessing. I've always been that way, and I've always felt that way. If there's something that you can get from me, as long as you take advantage of it and make the most out of it, I'm never upset. Like, that's who I am. I'm a muse. I'm a source. I expect to be used. That's what I'm here for. But the thing is, if you're going to use me, do it big.
But again, Jack, let me tell you why that's a twisted, sick mindset to have. Because you're saying you want to be used. You'd have to change that up. You are a leader, a boss, right? Your video went viral about Black and about how we a king, how we build this country. You need to take your own advice that went viral and know that you are a queen. To me, you're acting like a house slave. And you're looking for the next master. And you're not a slave. You're free. You are awesome singing. You need to get back to what worked as provided.
We're in the studio. The music is going great.
I understand you've been saying that for years, honey, and it haven't came out.
No, I mean, actually, here, beloved, can you take over for a second?
So TJ said she don't want to. I guess she kind of got a feeling of how this was going to go because Wiley was leading up to putting her head on the chopping block. And TJ, I think, sensed it. So she said, I don't want to. And she said, can you take over for a second? So what Jaguar did, she put the emoji on and she went dark. But I guess TJ wasn't feeling it at all. Maybe they had an argument because usually if they're in a good space, TJ is happy to come on to talk about whatever issues except the kids. But this time around, she said, I don't want to. Very gruntingly. So now we know when Jaguar say, oh, beloved this, beloved that. We know that's just smoke screen because maybe they just had a fight.
All right, TJ doesn't want to be on camera.
I understand that TJ don't want to be on camera. And I understand that she don't have to be on camera because that's not your wife or your husband.
Well, that was definitely a read, if I ever heard one. Wiley, you got it in you. You are a reader. You are 2 snaps and a thumbs up and a circle, honey. So then Jaguar told him she was working on her music to release it. And he said, we don't need to hear anything more about it. We just want to see the release. And then TJ jumped on and she said, well, I'm with her in the studio and I know she's working on it. And he told TJ, listen, that's all talk. We want to see some action. I'm paraphrasing. She's been at this for years. Jaguar, you've been talking about releasing music for years. We have yet to see it. You have people who are not even as gifted as you putting out music every year. So we don't want to hear it. We want to see the music. But that was the last peek we heard out of TJ. She called back in her shell. So then Wiley said, so when are you going to release the music? She said TBA, to be announced. And he said, listen, you're jumping from platform to platform, expending a whole lot of energy instead of you putting it 100% in the music and releasing the music so you can get back on track. And let me tell you, folks, of all the bloggers I hear interviewing Jaguar, Wiley's the first person who brought her into reality. He gave her a reality check. And I guess he did it because he really wants her to win, because he knows what it is to have a mental disability. He knows what it is to be diagnosed with schizophrenia, and he recognized those signs in Jaguar. So he knows what it is. She may pull the smoke over her eyes and let us know that's a touch of PTSD, but he knows what this is. So he was giving her good advice. I wonder if she was listening. So then Jaguar started to make a whole lot of excuse why she's not releasing the music yet. Because he drew the comparison that Tyrese, Erykah Badu, Jill Scott, he named those three people just to draw the correlation that they're putting out music. There's no excuse, even though they have problems in their lives, because we all have problems, but we still going ahead and do what we got to do when it comes to our business. But Jaguar is just stagnant. She's not doing nothing but trying to scam people over the internet, sitting there on a bed, trying to talk people out of their money. And so he was trying to tell her, listen, sis, you need to get back to the music. The music is what you're known for. That's your gift. Get back to the gift. But she's busy trying to make excuses. Why she haven't put out any new music?
Because they've already gotten their money on the front end for that record. I'm funding everything myself. Studio time, engineers, mixes, mastering, features, all of this I take care of myself. I don't have a company paying for it for me.
So then she says, it's not when she comes out, it's how she comes out. And all these people have the machine of the industry to back them. And she don't have that. So whenever she comes out, she's going to come out big. And it's how she comes out. And she just scouted the location for the video. And the scene is looking great. Come on now. We see Jaguar in the bed all the time. If she had scouted a video location, she would have clued us in on that. All that is just talk. Jaguar called the Wiley show to ask him to send her a few bucks if she would do this interview. But he said he ain't got it, but she's still giving him the interview. So what sense does that make? She's giving away, like he said, she's pimping out herself. So then she insulted Armand Wiggins, and she said what he does is a hobby. What I do is a career. But yet, you got a career, but you don't put out any music. He's putting out music with his hobby and making good money. So go figure. I guess I would prefer to have a hobby. And then out of the blue, she blurted out that she's going to still be running for Shreveport mayor. And I forgot all about that. Do you guys remember when she said she was going to be running for mayor? Well, she just blurted it out of nowhere. And I said, boy, I forgot all about that.
I'm still going to be running for mayor of Shreveport. Yes.
Okay, I understand that you said you're going to run for mayor, but we have to walk, we have to crawl before we can walk. You can't do all these multiple things. First and foremost,
why not?
Well, first and foremost, you got to make sure the trial that you don't go to prison. Okay.
I'm not going to prison.
Okay, we will know it until then. That you can only assume that it's up to the
no.
judge.
I can tell you that for sure.
Okay, you're not.
I'm not going to prison.
But they dropped the charges.
Not yet. But I go back to court September 20th.
You're saying, in your opinion, you may not go. It's a maybe, but it's still in the air that you.
No, I'm convinced.
So Jaguar says she's going back September 20th for sentencing. And what he's trying to tell her, prepare yourself if you get sentenced to go serve some time in prison. Prepare yourself. But she's not having it. She said, nope, I'm convinced I'm not going. I'm not going to be serving any jail time. So Jaguar's mind is made up. She's not going back to the penitentiary, and she's going to be running for mayor. So what he's trying to beat in her head is that she's got to be realistic. You know what? Come down from Mars. You've been flying on cloud 9 for a long time. You need to come back to reality. That's what he's trying to tell her, but she's not listening. And her biggest fan, TJ, is listening there in her little shell.
Okay, that's your conviction, but it's a possibility that you could be convicted of your crime.
It's possible that little boys could fall from the sky right now. There's a lot of things that are possible.
So here, Jaguar is in denial. She's not owning up to anything. She's saying a lot of things are possible, which means she's very dismissive. She's not even hearing him at this point. So Wiley continue to give her good advice by asking her if she don't think it's a good idea for her to just sit down for a little while, get some good therapy, rejuvenate herself, and then come back in the public. And she said, no, because I got a therapist who I'm working with, and I've had her for a few months now. And I said, well, a few months? That means all these years you didn't have a therapist? Jaguar tells so many lies, it's not even funny. But she, like I said before, she's not hearing anything that he's throwing at her. He's trying to give her good song advice because he's been through it. He knows what it is to be in her shoe. When you have a problem, mental illness, but you don't see it, other people sees it. And so he's looking at it from that perspective where he don't want to see people continue to use her. And she thinks she's the one who's in control and control of their platform because they need her to be on their platform. But she's not seeing it from that angle. She thinks that she's in control because she's on their platform and people are looking at her. But she does not understand the concept that you're on, honey, because you're content. You're putting money in these people's pockets. So he sees it because he knows the illness. He recognizes it for what it is. And he's trying to school her and give her a little clue, but she's not hearing it.
I want to ask you a very serious question, Jaguar, right now. Are you a drug addict? Are you on cocaine?
God, no.
Crystal meth? Weed, you don't do any drugs?
God, no. Me nor TJ. And it's just funny because all of these people who accuse us of being addicts are actually addicts in real life.
Well, you guys heard it. Jaguar says she's not a drug addict. She don't do no weed. She don't do no nothing. So, go figure. I guess it's all mental illness.
But you're not on crack or...
God, no. Why would I do that? I sold the shit. I know what it do to people.
Okay.
And here she's admitting yet again that she was a drug pusher, selling poison to the youths out there, to people out there. You know, that's not something you should be so keen on admitting because you know what it does to people, but yet you did it. So you do anything for money, pretty much. That's what you're telling me, Miss Jaguar, right?
So you're not on drugs. You're not high now. You're not high. You're sober.
No.
And the reason why he's asking her those questions, I guess, is because her speech pattern is a little off. It's not the usual Jaguar. But I say her speech pattern is a little off because she's hungry. She laying in that bed and she weak. She don't know what to do for food next day because she asking him to take her and TJ to lunch. So I think that's a touch of hunger, if you ask me. Because you guys know when you're hungry, you can't move. You're laying in the bed. You're just feeling weak. And I think that's what she's going through or was going through. I tell you what, she better go apply for food stamps and stop this begging on the internet. Imagine she called this man's show to tell this man to drop her some money if she do an interview with him. And I think at the end of the video, he said she wanted $500. I said, $500? She won't get 5 cents out of me. I told you guys that's why she was pressing Dee Dee the other day when she called her to find out how much she got on her books. If Danny Robertson put at least $500 on her books, I know she was pressing her to see how much she have so she can borrow a few dollars. But she couldn't get it that way, so now she jumped on this Wiley show to see if she can squeeze some money out of him. But she wasn't successful because he said, I ain't got it. But she running out of people whose platform she can jump on. I guess she's going to jump on Night and Day Network next because official Kingpin and Sean Davy-Bay is gone. So whose platform is she going to jump on? She can't jump on their platform and squeeze any money out of them.
I'm not going to lie. I had me a shot of whiskey yesterday and it was lovely.
So then she started talking about, she's a naturalist and a herbalist and do too much natural stuff like black linseed oil or whatever it is that is healthy. She does it. And I said, Jaguar, you don't look like a person who is very healthy. First of all, you're overweight. You are bloated. And you're always laying in the bed. You never take any type of videos with you working outside, with you even doing a squat inside. So how you are so healthy. And Jaguar is always talking about, 5K hike, 2K hike. She went hiking. But we never saw any footage of her hiking. It does not count when you go by the lake at 4 o'clock in the morning and look at the sun rising. That is not a hike, honey. That's just you watching the sun come up. And as for that, TJ, you went there to get content, honey, and you getting a whole lot of content, because when you leave Miss Jaguar, whenever you decide to leave Jaguar, I know a book is coming out. You got a whole lot of information now.
If people knew how I can go hiking 5 miles in sandals.
So Jaguar then told him they just went on a 5K hike after he asked her what's the last time you went on a hike. And she said, oh, it was beautiful. It was just me and TJ. It was a moonlight hike, and we spread our baskets and we had a little picnic. And I said, girl, you do not go on a hike with picnic baskets. What you really did was went on a picnic in the middle of the night like crazy people would do. If you went on a hike, the only thing you would have on you are your car keys. And she did say that they drove. So I guess they scrunch up enough money to rent a car.
Well, a lot of people, they were saying that your network was a scam.
No, it's not a scam. It's still living. It still exists. Absolutely not. Anybody who doesn't want to keep subscribing, all they have to do is hit the cancellation button.
Okay. So it's not a scam?
No, it's not a scam. But the people are saying it's a scam because they don't want people to continue to subscribe.
So Jaguar said all you got to do is hit the cancellation button. But the thing is, when people hit the cancellation button, they're still being charged. Their account do not cancel. It's still being charged and reoccurring charge month after month. And that's why people say it's a scam, because they can't get out of it. So Jaguar needs to address those issues with the people who have subscribed, if she have not reached out to them as yet. Because people are sending her emails, but she's not answering the emails. And she's not putting up any content. No new content, no content. But she said she had a couple of videos up initially. But people don't want to know what she had up. People want to see new content every month. That's what she promised, but she's not delivering. In any field or any line of business, if you give somebody money, you expect some type of product back. But here, Jaguar is not providing the product, but she's taking money. That is called fraud. So she really needs to stop the monthly recurring charges. So then she started to talk about F.U.A trolling her and trying to bring her down. But we all have seen her over the months, and she's the only one trying to bring herself down. So Wiley didn't want to hear none of that. He just wanted to know, do you have any content right now on your network? He wanted to get straight to the chase to find out, you got any shows on your network, girl? Forget about all that people trying to troll you. What I want to know, are you providing services for the people?
What is the content that is on your network right now? Do you have any shows on there?
Well, yeah, I mean, my podcast was on there, live performances, my catalog of live performances over the course of the past 20 years.
So she tried to do the old sidetrack trick. She's looking at his comments and addressing what people are saying, and he stopped her dead cold. He said, we're not going to address what's in the comments right now. But let me get back to my question. He started to question her again.
What is the amount for the network? How much do they pay for the network? What is
I'm not discussing my finances with anyone.
How much do the subscriber pay? Is it $12.99? $9.99
a month.
$9.99 a month?
Yes.
And they get charged month to month. Is it a free trial for this?
No, I don't do free trials.
So it's $9.
Yep, $9.99.
And on there, they can see a 20-year-old performance of you performing.
No, they can see a lot more than that. They can see history. They can see backlog. I'm going to be putting up old EPK footage, stuff that got lost that nobody saw.
But here's where the problem lies. She's talking about what she's going to be doing, but she's charging people now for what she's going to be doing. That's not business, honey. That's not how you conduct business. That's where the word fraud comes in, because before you start charging people, you're supposed to have the product. You're supposed to be presenting the footage of all these things that you have talked about. They're supposed to be on that site right now because you're charging. You're charging people money for a service that you're not providing. Therefore, Those people need to get refunds, or you need to shut it down.
Like, this was all what I was in the process of doing up until I was arrested and taken to jail. And then we have
on there, right?
And
you do have subscribers on there.
Yeah, I have subscribers on there. But at the end of the day, point is this. I was stopped from doing what I was going to be doing. I had my own 50th anniversary of hip hop special that I was planning, and I wasn't going to announce it until the BET Awards. I wanted them to do theirs first so I could do mine second, because I'm bringing all the real hitters to Philadelphia. See, all of this was to stop me from doing what I'm doing.
But you stopped that because you went.
No, I didn't stop it. I didn't. No, listen to me. I didn't. Wiley, I didn't stop it, and you're not going to bait me into talking about my case.
I'm not baiting you, but you're making it seem like
you are, because what you're saying, you're saying now, you're saying to get a rebuttal from me.
I'm not trying to get a rebuttal.
And the only thing that I can rebut with are the facts and details of my very open case. Not talking about it. But what I will say,
So clearly he wasn't talking about her court case. He was asking her about Philadelphia, how many subscribers she's got on there. Is she putting on new shows? Have she been putting on new shows? Is it just old content? Everything was about Philadelphia, but for her to sidetrack what he's saying, she threw the case in the midst. Like if he was asking her about her court case. He wasn't, but that's her go-to. Whenever she wants to get off a given topic, she'll say, well, I can't discuss my court case. You're baiting me into trying to discuss my case.
You go to trial.
Well, they have to figure that out. I have to go back to court on the 20th of September.
On September the 20th, I will be there.
Well, then come. You can see for yourself. I'll introduce you to my lawyers. They're all great. And all the officers in the building, we're just good friends now.
Jaguar. You're not good friends with these officers. They are friendly. There's a difference.
But all the officers in the building, they're friends with you?
Yeah.
Are they gonna?
And the officers in the jail.
But I'm going to tell you guys the honest truth. I think Jaguar Wright, her story would make for great television. If somebody do a docu-series on her life story, it is so interesting. When you really think about it, here's a woman who was on top of her game and she fell off from grace for whatever reason, whether it's the mental illness, the drug or alcohol abuse, but she's got a story to tell, and I think it's quite an interesting one to the present day with her living out of a hotel. At first I thought it was the Best Western, but by the background, from what I see, that cheap old bed and everything looking so cheap, and the size of the room is so tiny, I would clearly say maybe it's Motel 6 or Motel 8. In the last video, I thought she said that she and TJ was looking for an apartment. I thought they had the apartment because she said Shirley, the woman who she scammed a couple of $1,000s out of, Shirley was willing to put money down for them to get an apartment. And she was talking so big, bad, and bold that I thought she had the apartment. Come to find out, she's still living in a hotel, and apparently they downgraded again because it looks like Motel 6.
Will Officer Ramirez be in this documentary?
I cannot speak about that person.
Okay.
He's a part of a very open case.
Will you also interview and apologize to the leasing office when you went there and harassed?
I will not apologize to Legacy. I will not. It's a scam.
Okay.
People are getting stabbed over there. People getting shot over there still. They didn't even get security to go around the entire complex until after I did the video that has 40-some-odd thousand views, exposing them for the fraud that they are.
But you do know the leasing office, they're not the owners. You do know that, right?
Yeah, I know. I know exactly who they work for, which is why I did the video. And I have a conversation with that company about the things that I've published. But that's something I also have to talk about.
So you guys notice everything Jaguar don't want to talk about. She always says, oh, it's an open case and I cannot talk about that. That's when she is really trying to divert answering the question. Wiley also asked her about how is her son and mother doing. She said she haven't spoken to her mother, but when she talks to her son, he's doing great. They're focused on the art show that he's supposed to be doing this fall. And I said, girl, you still have this boy's head in a cloud. He needs to be working and doing his art at the same time, not just the sole focus just on the show. And this is why I know his father is probably trying to whip him into manhood by him either going back to school, getting a job. He can still do his art, but he's got to do either the working or the schooling. There are lots of starving artists out there, very good artists, but they're not making a living because the competition is great. You got to have a backup plan, and that's what his father is trying to provide. Now, Jaguar said she tells her son not to tell his father whenever she calls because he's always on the son's case. Did your mother call you? And I guess want to know what she says so he can really set the son straight. Because Sam Sr. know that Jaguar has mental illness, and if she keeps talking to Sam Jr., she's going to have this boy in the same boat that she's in. So what I'm gathering, he can talk to his mother, but with supervision. The father probably would want to know whatever they spoke on, and so he can try to wake him up into reality, because Jaguar's got his head on cloud 9.
All he and I are really focused on is his art show this fall. So that's our conversation. We don't talk about YouTube. And it's so funny because what makes me love my son so much, and I feel bad because I didn't even call him to tell him that I was actually going to start talking about it. But I told him when I first got out of jail and we got on the phone, I said to him, if anybody asks, even your dad, if you've talked to me, say no. You can call me whenever you want. I'll call you from time to time because I don't want him under that pressure because his dad is like hawking over his neck all the time. Are you talking to your mom? Are you talking to your mom?
His father wants to steer him on the right path of working or going to school and not just being a bum around the house saying he's doing art. Because like I said before, there are a lot of starving artists out there that are excellent, that will command any gallery showing, but they just can't sell their material because there's so much competition.
I want to say this. I understand where the father's coming from because
I don't understand why. Excuse me, Wiley, you're not going to sit. You're not going to do that, Wiley. That I'm not going to do.
He was very upset that you were harassing the building, putting your son in danger.
He's very upset about a lot. What he needs to be upset about are all of those men that I'm still going to interview that he had sex with while we were married.
But ma'am, that was back 20-something.
Because I will be interviewing all of the men he had sex with while we were married. Which is why he was all down to work with my sister in Genesis to get my bond revoked so I couldn't do the Tasha K interview because I was
going. So here comes Jaguar. He stirred up a hornet's nest and Jaguar came out. So he mentioned the husband, and we know how she feels about Sam Sr.
Be exposing it all on her show. He was with them to help me get arrested, Wiley. So I don't get about what you talking about, that very faggot ass, about that closet ass hoe.
I understand. I understand the anger, but you did.
No, I don't. Don't talk to me about that faggot. I was talking about my son. I wasn't talking about that faggot.
But again, you slept with him, so what did that make you a beard?
Yeah, I was married to him, and I left him too.
And on that note, I said touche. Because you're talking about this man being a homosexual, but yet you married him and you slept with him. So what does that make you? I am telling you guys that Wiley is a reader. 2 snaps in a circle.
And I also left him.
I think the anger comes from he had to come rescue your son because you.
He didn't have to come do shit. He's the one that abandoned our son. He's the reason Sam came back to Dallas. He threw him out. But he don't tell nobody that.
Again, I'm glad you said it. When we talked to Sam, he said he did not throw him out.
He's about to be investigated, doing what he did to help have me arrested so he could get my son back.
Ma'am, you put the ashes.
No. This ain't got shit to do with no mother.
So she's talking about over 15 years ago when the father got his son back, and she ended up in jail for kidnapping Sam Jr. So Wiley's trying to bring it forward to today, present day. And he said, well, you're the one who put your son's ashes all over your face and bathed in your son's ashes. And she said, well, the ashes don't have nothing to do with it. And I'm saying to myself, well, what happened 15 years ago, but you're going to jail because you kidnapped your son? Don't have nothing to do with this conversation either.
Ashes. This ain't got shit to do with ashes. That pussy, my sister Lachelle Wright Wallace, Nicole Allen, and Monica Lockett all work together to have me arrested.
So guys, that's how the illness works. You do something that's going to cause you to go to jail, but you blame others for it.
Well, they did not arrest you.
They're all getting arrested their damn self because I'm having them all charged.
So again, you're not a
Period.
You're not a
Period. Period. We were talking about my son. Do you want to keep talking about my son, Wiley? Or do you just want to talk about faggots?
Let me say this. You can say that word all day long, but you've been on shows with gay men, and they were...
Yeah, you're right.
Anyway, let me say this, though.
That nigga's a faggot, though.
Let me say, I don't care what you say about that. That ain't nothing but your words. But you,
I know a lot of people. I know a lot of people that think she's a faggot too. Like all of the men I'm going to be interviewing on Dollar WTV Network this fall.
I get that, I understand that. But you were in the police station acting a fool live.
And that is a part of an open case that I cannot discuss.
That have nothing to do with your husband, though. Your ex-husband, Sam. Your son.
Yes, it did, because he's been working with my enemies for the past 15 years.
So he's been working
with my life and use our child to keep me in and out of goddamn court. Wiley, if you're going to ask me this shit, can you at least have the decency to do a little research?
But that have nothing about your son.
No, it had everything to do with my son. He's been using my son for years. He's been using my son for years, and he's been doing it for the roots. He's been doing it for the roots, who he still peddles polo to.
So I'm scratching my head. How did the roots become a part of this conversation? Jaguar is all over the board. She's blaming everybody for her downfall and how she's currently acting. But I'm telling you, she is not in step with reality. She needs to get back on her medications. She needs to do what Wiley said. Get yourself into some type of program that can help you.
Period. Wiley, do research.
That's all right. Let me ask you a question.
Do your research, Wiley. I'm about to go. No, because now you get my pressure up and you said you ain't got no money.
So now she's in the hot seat. She got to go. But the bottom line is, he ain't got no money. That's why she got to go. If he had money to give her, she would stay in the hot seat.
You said you ain't got no money.
But did your son drop out of college? Okay, but you can have all that anger and all that type of stuff, but you can't blame Sam for all that. And you're mad and upset. Did nobody tell you to come on this show? We gonna ask you the tough questions.
So on that note, Jaguar was gone. Poof! She was gone. But nobody told her to come on his panel, like he said. If she don't want the tough questions to be asked, she should have been on King Payne show, official King Payne, and call it a day. But now she can't get on official King Payne because she tried to set that man up. So I don't know whose panel she's going to jump on next, but whoever's panel she jumps on, she better be prepared for tough and hard questions, because people are not playing with Jaguar. They see how nasty and greedy she can get. She will throw you under the bus in a heartbeat. She is not loyal to anybody. So guys, drop your questions. Let's discuss it further. If you got any input, I am over and out. I'm going to see you guys in the next one. Don't forget, before you leave the page, hit the like bell, that thumbs up bell. If you have not subscribed to the channel as yet, please do so at this time. I am over and out. Thank you for watching.